want to thank everybody for coming here today. My name is Mark Ryan. I've been a physician practicing in the state of Rhode Island for over 30 years. And the reason why I'm supporting Bernie is over that time, I have seen the increasingly destructive influence that the insurance and pharmaceutical industries are having on the lives of my patients. I'm thinking of the 55-year-old guy who sat on his bed having chest pain all night because he couldn't afford the deductible he'd have to pay before the insurance company would even begin to pick up the tab for his hospital stay. Sadly, he can't be here today because he died a few years ago. I'm thinking of the 70-year-old vigorous lady who wound up in the hospital with congestive heart failure because when I found out she was only taking half the dose of the medicines I was prescribing because she couldn't afford the whole dose and was too ashamed to tell me. Even with the Affordable Care Act, there are still 29 million Americans without insurance and millions more whose insurance plans have such high deductibles and co-payments that they are basically worthless to the people that they supposedly insure. Lack of insurance is a disease, and it kills 1 out of 1,000 people who suffer from it in this country every year. And that means that this year alone, 29,000 Americans are going to die only because we cannot figure out how to give them health insurance. And the reason why we can't figure that out, the reason why we don't have a better system, is that the insurance and pharmaceutical companies are funneling huge amounts of cash into the political process. They poured $100 million in 2010 alone to write out the Medicare expansion out of the Affordable Care Act. The public option, remember that? That was gone because they were on the committee that wrote the Senate bill that was passed. The number one reason for personal bankruptcy in this country is healthcare costs. And because so many Americans have insurance that is tied to their employment, they are one illness or accident away from bankruptcy and possibly death. In no other industrialized country do people go bankrupt and die due to lack of access to health care. In no other industrialized country is the value of human life measured by your ability to pay. In 1948, Harry Truman proposed a single-payer national health insurance plan that would have covered every American. We have had to wait 68 years before another candidate for that office has come along finally to propose the same thing. With thousands of our fellow citizens losing their homes, their livelihoods, and their lives due to our corrupt and wasteful healthcare system, we cannot afford to wait any longer. We must make sure that the next president of the United States is the one person who is actually serious about fixing the system, not just making incremental improvements that can be easily undone by the insurance industry and big pharma. We must work as hard as we are able, convince as many of our fellow citizens as we are able, to elect Bernie Sanders as the next president of the United States.